This NASCAR Championship Format Discussion edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. And we're closing out the week on a bit of a speculative note as we pretty much just sit here for the next, however long it takes us to figure out all of NASCAR's issues, work through them, offer solutions, Cody, and get paid for coming up with the next best idea for the NASCAR Championship format.
Yeah, I think we settle it today, Rod. How will the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Shane Van Gisbergen, be crowned? That's the question.
That is the question, and we will spend as much time as it takes to answer. So you are in for the long. No, I'm just kidding. We're just going to talk through some of our ideas, and some of the ideas that have already been floated around, and then maybe kind of go back in time to some of the ideas that were out there. And I mean, there haven't been too many different not playoff formats, but championship formats in general. So, I mean, it's not like we got to walk back a long way to find a better solution. But I know that there's been a lot of folks, Cody, that 1000% can't stand the way that the NASCAR champions are crowned now. So there's a lot of people wanting it to change, and NASCAR's heard that. They're going to update it, but we just don't know yet who it is or what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like change is imminent, right? It sounds like they have plans to make a change, but they've not yet announced it. We're almost 2 weeks removed from the season ending, still kind of holding that close to the vest. Have they even decided yet? Who knows? Maybe they're waiting for this show to drop before they make the decision. But, I think it'll just be fun to walk through, because the thing with all of the playoff options or the championship options, I guess I should say, whether it's going back to the 36 races, whether it's going back to the original chase, whether it's keeping it how it is, whether it's a 3-3-4, whether it's like a 5-5, any number of these things there's pros for all of them. There is. And there's also cons for all of them. There is no perfect system, right? What is the best way to crown the champion? What's the best way to decide it? I think it's everybody's going to have different opinions, right? And it's not necessarily one that's right or one that's wrong. And I think that it's kind of fun to walk through them and point out, like, here's maybe the good things, here's maybe the bad things. What do we want to see? What do we think, what could awarding a win instead of, just being a few extra points? Could it be an extra 10 points or 20 points, or do they make it 25 points? Or does 2 wins qualify you for the playoffs? Like, all that stuff. So we want to hear your thoughts. Chime in the comments. We'll be looking at the comments for whatever you guys have when it comes to this stuff as we kind of talk through it. So, we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely would. We're hearing from Derek right now. It's time for the hot rod and the zebra. That is correct. Absolutely love it. Yeah, it's our Discord handles, our Discord avatars. If you're not in there, go check those out. We definitely have some fun ones in there.
Derek was one of the original bringing up the zebra nickname, so definitely got to give him credit for that. He's been calling me that for a while, so love it.
I love it, but you know what else I love? I love being able to get all of my favorite shows on one app, and that is what you can do when you download the SGPN app. There's all kinds of stuff out there for you. There's football, there's basketball, there's hockey, there's baseball. It's still baseball, actually. There's some baseball shows coming out, so you ain't missing that. And, of course, football. There's us. There's the CFL. Yeah, it's all right there. Go download that SGPN app, subscribe, and your favorite podcast will hit your feed without even thinking about it. All right, Cody, there is a few pieces of news that we haven't hit on yet this week, and one involves one of my favorite drivers of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to get you before the show. Didn't work. But we just recorded over on the YouTube a couple hours ago, and in between then and now, we've had the breaking news. And I asked you if you'd seen the Justin Allgaier news, and you said no, and so I told you he was retiring and hanging it up, and you didn't buy it, unfortunately. I thought I would get you, but I didn't. He is not hanging it up. Don't worry. No, everybody, just calm down. He is going to attempt to run the Daytona 500 for Junior Motorsports again in 2026. Obviously attempted and did run the race last year in the number 40 car. Ended up being one of the top-selling merch items for the entire season off of that one start in that Traveler's Whiskey number 40 car, and it sounds like it's going to be the Traveler's Whiskey 40 car again this year. Hopefully, as NASCAR is going through all these changes, if you are listening now, 43 cars in the Daytona 500, the way that it should be. Keep it at 40 the rest of the season, that's fine. Make it 43. They already extended it to 41 in special circumstances last year, Rod. It could have been 41. But give us 43. Let 43 in the Daytona 500, and then cap it at 40 the rest of the year. But that's, again, whatever. I'm probably not going to win that fight, even though it's a fight I've been trying to bring forth for years, and seems to have fallen on deaf ears. But great to see Justin Allgaier. Great to see Junior Motorsports continuing to dabble in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Yeah, and honestly, too, Justin Allgaier is the hands-down pick for that, considering, of course, that Connor Zilch no longer with the team anymore. And you definitely, give Carson Kvapil a little bit of love, but he's still part-time, full-time.
Allgaier's been the guy, right? He's been around for years. He's their veteran. He's their flagship driver at this point. Champion a couple of years ago, of course, and perennial contender. Of course, we'll talk. We talked earlier this week already about Cup Series championship odds. Xfinity Series championship odds should be out next couple of weeks-ish, hopefully, as we get more driver announcements here. So we'll definitely be diving into that. And I can promise you, Allgaier will be near the top, if not at the top of the odds board there.
I'll tell you, for the Daytona 500 already, I will certainly be speculating on some Justin Allgaier to win that one, because why not, right? It's not as if he's not a veteran driver and can't get around. It's just he hasn't been a Cup Series regular, and that's probably the only knock against him. But hell, man, if you're down there tearing it up, why would you want to move up and frustrate yourself more when you've been successful down there?
Yeah, he's made a spot for himself. We've seen plenty of drivers do that over the years, so love it for him, and it's great. Like a guy like that getting an opportunity to run in the Daytona 500 last year, getting a chance to run it back, and to get to do it with Dale Jr. as your boss. That's pretty freaking cool.
It is pretty freaking cool. It's pretty freaking cool winning contests and winning free stuff because you've entered these contests, Cody. We have a ton of folks that entered and participated in all of our season-long contests that we had going for this year, and only a few have been chosen as the winners. And you are going to tell us who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Wanted to give some shout outs. We run multiple contests throughout the year. We had the playoff bracket challenge back in the summer and all that, but for the full season, which we'll do this again this coming year, so make sure you stay tuned as we get closer to the season. But we do a fantasy league over on the NASCAR Fantasy app, right, where you set your lineup every week and you get so many uses for each driver. Rod, hasn't happened lately in the Cup Series, but in the NASCAR Gambling Podcast League, it's back-to-back titles for COVID and Cambria, 3 in a row. Shout out to them for taking down the prize, $150 gift card for the merch store they won. Gatorbait got second place, made a big run for it there at the end of the year, didn't quite get it done. $50 gift card for them. Tina in third place. Props to her. She's back-to-back years been up there in the top running. So third place got a race officials or terrorists shirt headed her way, and Kyle Lee also claiming fourth place. So that was our top 4 prize winners. So shout out to all of them for getting it done in the season-long fantasy.
I tell you what, man, and I love that the COVID and Cambria popped into the Discord just out of the blue, not talking at all in the year.
They're not always super jump in every once in a while, but then pops in and hey, I'm the back-to-back champion.
It's like, hi, thanks for my prize again, and now I'll bounce it. But look, it's so much fun. I tell you, this will be the year that I participate more. I always have high hopes to get in there and do it, and then if you notice, I'm probably on the bottom of all of them because it just
you didn't make the screenshot, Rod. I finished in 7th place, so could have been better. I'll take it. We had 63 people in there, 62 if you don't count Rod's not entering ass.
And
but
don't count mine. Yeah, that's what happens. I have the best of intentions, and next thing you know, I'm all it's already Daytona.
There's always that one guy who doesn't set his fantasy lineup, Rod.
Oh, no. See, now that I do. That I do. I'm not that guy in most leagues, but yeah, I figure I'll let somebody else win.
So sliding over to the one and done pool. This is always one of my favorite. Usually we make it 2 episodes, but one of my favorite episode series in the off season is going through the one and done pool and making all the picks preseason, similar to a Survivor, right? You get to use each driver one time throughout the year. You're not eliminated at any point, but you've got all of the drivers in the pool and anybody who steps in and you could pick a Connor Zilich when they make their starts or whatever. And so, you get to use each driver one time throughout the entire season. So we had a ton of entries into this. The preseason picks, which we do put in there, 14th place, started the season really strong and then kind of slid near the end of the year. So we're going to have to try and pick that up a little bit, but did get 14th in the preseason picks. I was almost last, so I had just a horrible season of one and done. Seemed like every week when I pick a guy, he'd wreck out, finish last. Could not find any luck there. But Cage Fighters took home the win, 10,066 points. It's a pretty decent win there. 5 times picked the driver who won the race. So that's pretty solid. And then Kyle Lee, Blurry Kyle, who we'd mentioned is finishing 4th place in the overall season long. He finished 2nd place in that. So both of them got their prize money from that. We did do a little small entry fee on that one. So props to those guys for taking home the one and done, which I'm looking forward to that episode, probably January-ish time frame, maybe December, depending on how the off season goes. But going through and selecting all our one and done pool picks and getting that all set up again.
Yeah, that's fun because then you get to talk about all kinds of drivers and you don't necessarily have to talk about all the favorites every single time. So absolutely love it. All right, we've got the Steeler, the Ace Steeler 101 in here. I haven't seen you before, or maybe I have, and I just haven't paid attention. Austin Cindric is at Sandown in Australia at the moment, preparing for the Adelaide Supercars grand finale and already impressing supercar drivers.
Ooh.
Good showing for him in Adelaide. So
yeah, you like to see it. It's good to see the Cup Series guys go and show off in the other series. Cindric's a guy who's done a lot of different racing throughout his upcoming and through his career. His dad obviously was the head of the Penske IndyCar program. RIP to that part because that didn't end well. But so lots of road racing stuff and whatnot throughout his career. So good to see those guys down there. One more contest, Rod. We did have the playoff. We did the playoff bracket challenge over at NASCAR as well. Be interesting to see what that looks like this year. Okay. Full season points took that one down. Our guy Rowdy Nation had the lead until the final week. RIP with Chase Briscoe pick there. But full season points got a hoodie headed his direction for winning that one. So thanks to you guys for joining in those season-long contests or playoff-long contests with the last one. And all the contests we run throughout the season. It's always a ton of fun, and we greatly appreciate the participation.
Where did I finish in the playoff? Because I actually did that one. I finished that one out.
Well, yeah, that's because you had to pick this or set the picks
all the way. Yeah, at the beginning.
Let them go. I honestly don't have it pulled up in front of me anymore, Rod. I already closed that tab.
I don't care. I'll figure it out. I'll log in.
I know that neither of us were that close to the top. So
yeah, because I had Denny, I think, winning the whole thing. So I was good for
I
a
went with
while.
Briscoe. I think I was decent. I missed on my top 4 though. I had Larson going out early. That was a bad move, obviously. Won the championship. I leaned a little too hard into the captain shook, but shit happens.
That's all right. Hey, listen, thank you guys. Like we said, to everybody that participates, it always makes it a lot of fun to have everybody come in and have some fun together and compete for what is really a great prize at the end of the day. And then, coming in Discord and talking about it. And we have a great community. We can't stress that enough. And we've said it time and time again. We absolutely love each and every one of you because it's a family. This isn't just a group of listeners. This is an absolute family that we've built over the last 700 episodes. And I mean, we're in for the long haul, and it's
long time. We're headed towards our 5th season of this show when we get to 2026. Insane. That's crazy. 703 episodes. Been a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks everybody for participating in those. What do you say, Rod? Should we get into some NASCAR Championship debate discussion? Who knows? Could be either. Could be both.
Yeah, actually, it could be a lot of it. Hold on, though. This just in: Kyle Larson taking Yuki Tsunoda's seat at the 2025 Las Vegas Grand Prix, racing in Max Verstappen equipment.
That's where I wish we could see, like, where if F1 could have extra entries like NASCAR will allows, throw Kyle Larson in an F1 car at Vegas. The season's over. Let's see it.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Let's get to all of that. But first, let me tell you about our friends over at Novig. We're brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Novig, you are getting the best prices. Texas is number 10 in the college football hunt, and they are giving us a market on whether or not Texas is going to make the college football playoffs. Plus 198 for yes, minus 240 for no. Woo-hoo. Go jump on that. Boy, Texas, how the mighty have fallen. But you can find that in tons of other great markets over there on Novig. It's available in 35 or more states. Go download that Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5. Use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig promo code SGPN. Told you about it at the start of the show. How about we tell you about it now? It is Underdog. Underdog is the best place to play Pick'em, where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. Told you, Grey Cup coming up on Sunday. It is the Alouettes taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Montreal Alouettes taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I am looking at AJ Ouellette. He is the running back for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. His projection for touchdowns, rushing and receiving is set at 0.5. I'm going to take the higher, which is the only option you got, but I'm definitely going to take that. It's plus 0.94 times your money if you want to take AJ Ouellette. Look, I'm telling you right now, he is a beast. He runs fast. He runs hard. He can break one off, or he can just pile in for a short yardage score. So I like him to score the touchdown. So give me the higher than half of a rushing and receiving touchdown at 0.94x. You can get a brand new offer if you are a new customer. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE SGPN. My family, well, they're used to me being into a whole bunch of stuff that they're not into. And so when I started the dive into the Canadian Football League, and I was introducing them to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Calgary Stampeders, the Montreal Alouettes, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they looked at me with complete disinterest, which is normal, and promptly was like, okay, well, that's you, bud, and hopefully you have fun with that. And I have. The Ottawa Red Blacks, it's a whole different language that you get to speak, and nobody cares.
Your family listens when you talk about things about sports, Rob? That's cool.
No. Not anymore. Not anymore. I tell you, I have done.
I just get we don't care, Dad, and I go, yes, I know, and I forgot. I apologize. I'll just text Rod about this.
Exactly, and I'll get a text a little bit later, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Cody, I'm here for you. But that's right. Lay it all on me, buddy.
That's right. That's how it goes.
All right, so here we go. This is it. This is the discussion. This is where we're going. This is what this episode is about. So if you're ready for a frank and honest talk about NASCAR's playoffs, you probably hit the wrong button. But here's the thing. I get it, right? I get people's frustrations and I get people's anger about how it seems to be unfair that this playoff system is the way it is. But I will say one thing before we even get anything going, is that no matter what we decide on and what we figure out or what NASCAR comes up with, people are going to hate it. People just hate everything now, right? People will complain, even if it's the most perfect system in the world and we crown a champion that deserved it. There's going to be a portion of the population that goes, that's not how you should crown a champion.
That's the thing is nobody agrees on what is the perfect champion? Is it the guy who just averages the best finish all season? Is it the guy who has the most wins? Is it the guy who comes in clutch in the playoffs? Is it the guy that, name X, right? And there's different things. And you look at this and it's, Kyle Larson gets crowned the champion. And if you really look at his season overall, it was pretty damn good, right? Yeah, there was the Captain Shook part of things the second half, and that worked out for us betting wise, but he was still great and he still had a good season. He would have won, quote unquote, if it had been, a 10 race chase, and he would have been close if it was 36 races, and he had a solid season. But Denny dominates the final race, and it feels like it was stolen from him, even though in other scenarios maybe it wasn't. And having time to kind of calm down and get out of the fray, right? We in the moment it's like, oh my God, we're so upset for Denny that this happened and everything. But you look back, no matter what NASCAR decides, everybody knows the rules going to Daytona. That's the rules you play to, and the best person who plays to those rules is the legit true champion. Jesse Love, every bit deserves to be the 2025 Xfinity Series champion because he played by the rules set forth. That's all that matters. Sorry, Connor, you didn't show up. Your team didn't show up. Too fucking bad. That was the rules that were set. So I think it's important to state that. And looking back, I was listening to Denny finally had Actions Detrimental come out on Friday. I was listening to it, and we had a 30-0 lead, and it got taken away. And I was thinking about it. And did you have a 30-0 lead, or were you pitching the perfect game, and then in the bottom of the ninth inning, somebody got a base hit off of you because you threw one bad pitch, and suddenly you're not the World Series champion? There's no sport that you could compare to where a 30-0 lead gets taken away, but you didn't have 30 points on the board. You had a good lead. So I don't know. I've kind of swung back around to, again, these are the rules that were set forth, right? And is that how it should be? Is it not how it should be? I guess that's what we're here to talk about today. But I don't know. In retrospect and having the time to cool off and think about it, I don't know that the playoff system we have is that bad. You think about the 4 drivers who got to Phoenix, all 4 of them deserve to be crowned the champion. Kyle Larson had a great season, a good enough playoff run, and he's a great driver, right? The best driver in the world, I think. Denny Hamlin had an amazing season. All the wins, the clutch playoff moments. He gets there. It's the big storyline. Everybody's pulling for him. Chase Briscoe comes out of not nowhere, but really, shows up big in his first opportunity on a good team finally, and has a hell of a season, has an amazing playoff run to get to the championship 4. And then for William Byron, regular season champion, in a great season overall, right? Daytona 500 winner for the second time back to back. And so, yeah, all of them would have been deserving. So having those 4 guys race for a championship in one race, I don't know that it's the worst thing ever.
I love that analogy of the perfect game going and somebody gets a base hit off you, because that's exactly what it is. It's one little mistake that sets up the rest of the game, right? And you could have had a 1-0 lead at that point. You give up a base hit, then you give up a bunt single that moves them forward, and now a sac fly. And, that's the sequence of events. And guess what? Yeah, you were pitching a perfect game, but somebody got you in the end. And that's why, or even to use that 30-point thing, right? Look, you got to play all 4 quarters, or you got to play all 60 minutes, to be honest with you, because there could be a few things that go your way.
What if a team's down 28-3 and late in the fourth quarter, or the late in the third quarter? But that's the thing is, like, what if Tom Brady throws a perfect pass and it's right to the receiver, and it just glances off, and then the guy catches it and returns it for a touchdown. And then the next play, they scored another touchdown, and all of a sudden, they were killing them. I mean, and that's really the Falcons game is kind of the same. The Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl, they killed the Patriots for the first 3+ quarters of that game. It was not even close. They just shoved them in the dirt and destroyed them. But then late, they made mistakes, and the Patriots took advantage. They came to the situation, and they came back. And yes, this was more the last 2 minutes of the game than anything because of the caution flag that somewhat is out of their control. Yes, but the pit call was not out of their control. They made the call they thought was right, but it wasn't the correct play call, right? It wasn't the right pitch to throw. It wasn't. So I think you can compare it in those scenarios to that. And there's other things that if you did keep this system, what if we, I don't know that we want to get rid of ending under a green flag, because ending under a caution flag, do you want to pay to go to a race? Do you want to go to an event and end under caution? I think that it's been good that NASCAR's gone away with that. Is a green-white checkered overtime something that needs to be reviewed? Maybe. We don't count caution laps in the last 10 laps of the race, or the last stage, or the last 100 laps, or maybe we freeze things where they're at, right? Maybe, like back in the day, lap cars start where they are in the lineup. I don't know that I love that idea, but it's an idea. That's how it used to be. Or the lap cars all started on the bottom at times too. That's kind of gone different ways. I think that maybe if we don't like the caution flag resetting into overtime chaos, you could maybe, not count the caution lap. So if the caution comes out with 3 to go, then it is going to be a green-white checkered. But if it comes out with 10 to go, that generally takes us into overtime, right? By the time we go through an entire caution process, now we're in overtime. How about we just stop counting caution laps at 10 laps to go? And if the caution comes out with 12 laps to go, then we're going to take the green flag with 10 laps to go because it stops at that point in time. That might be a way to alleviate this one little thing that happened in this particular event.
Yeah, and yet there's going to be something else that comes up that we're going to need to address that way too. So you're right. There's no one-size-fits-all option out there. And honestly, with as much as they've had to tweak, and so first and foremost, I want to get to John's comment real quick. Justin Allgaier should have been the champion. John, I feel you 100%. I really wish that he'd have been the champion on this one, but
I'll have another shot this year.
Yeah. But so look, if you take a look back, right, and obviously we're not going to keep this format. So that's not going to be something that we
don't rule it out just yet, Rod.
But there's been so much clamor. I don't think they're gonna. If they said,
I do think that they're going to make an adjustment. I think it's overwhelming. People want an adjustment, and I think NASCAR will answer that.
I think they will. What that is what we're going to talk about. But if you look back through the history of it all, right? Obviously, for the longest time, from 1949 all the way until the 2003 season, we were using full season points format, right? Matt Kenseth was the last one of those to win that one, and that's why everybody was like, oh, but see, 1949 is when they started this, and it took till 2003 for somebody or for everybody to cry enough to make a change, because Matt Kenseth obviously was not the most famous. I mean, no wins, right? 25 top 10s. He essentially just pointed his way to the championship, and people were like, how can you win a championship without winning a race? And we need
that's the funny thing, because now, you've got people calling for 36 races and I want the guy that has the best season to win, but it's not always the guy that has the best season that wins in 36 points. And 2003 is a great example, because Ryan Newman won 8 races, had an amazing season, but yet they were inconsistent on the back end and had DNFs and had bad finishes and didn't get there. You could alter the points to make it matter more for winners. Yes, I think that if you were going to go with 36 races, that would probably be the way to do it. But also, with 36 races, yes, the way that people were like to pull up the NASCAR Winston Cup points for this year, look how close it was, Rod. Okay, yes. But William Byron was locked into the playoffs, quote unquote, locked in, after the Daytona 500. So at what point did they stop racing for every single point in that race? And that's where it just changes how you would race. So you could look at that. You could say, look how close it was. Yes. But also look at some of the other seasons where it wouldn't have been close at all, most seasons. And then also look at IndyCar right now. Alex Palou has wrapped up the championship with 3, 4, 5 races left in the season, 3 years in a row. And honestly, the championship race is boring as fuck because about 5 races into the season, you're like, oh, it's going to be another Alex Palou year, and nobody's ever going to catch him. And then it just kind of, he runs away with it. And then it's just, there's not, and sure, there's something to be said about how great of a season he's putting together. Yes, but especially these days, you have to keep some excitement and like give us something to look forward to. Get spice it up a little. It doesn't have to be a one race down to overtime, best guy on 2 laps wins. It doesn't have to be that, but 36. Careful what you wish for. And we've seen that multiple times in NASCAR throughout all those years from 49 to 03, right? Where guys would wrap it up 2, 3, 4, 5 races in advance. F1's been that much that the case lately. Now, this year is an amazing points battle. They had an amazing points battle about 4 years ago, but the last 3 years, Max Verstappen wiped the field and had the championship trophy with 10 races to go. And it was like, it deflates things a lot when it comes to the points championship. So I'm not really a fan of 36. If that's what they go with, whatever, like I'm good with whatever points. I'm not going to like, oh, stop watching NASCAR or whatever. If they want to go with 36, fine. I think that there could be some ways, you still award stage points, you up the winners points, you maybe add in points for leading the lap like we used to have back in the day. Could be some ways to try and jazz it up more. I know JDK has brought up, only paying points to the top 20 like F1 does, or F1 pays to the top 10, which is half their field. So in NASCAR, you'd translate that to the top 20, right? Look at that. Every time I say his name, he pops in. But so that could be a way to maybe try and keep the points closer throughout the year. But I don't know. Of all of the options out there, 36 is my least favorite for sure.
Well, and again, like you said, we watched Max Verstappen run away with the championship, and that's not 36 races. It's only like 20, 25, 24, and he had it locked up by 10 races. So, and then that also leads people to go, well, this is no excitement. And there's already people that are like, NASCAR is so boring anyways because of blah, 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 blah. And so tell me that there's nothing to race for after 25 races and people are just, going for second or going for third. I mean, granted, yeah, that's great and all that, but I mean, you had the season where Dale Earnhardt didn't win any races in 1991 and he was still the championship. You're going to tell me he didn't deserve to be a champion?
1996, as JDK points out, Terry Labonte had 2 wins, Jeff Gordon had 10. So, if the guy with the best season, quote unquote, is the guy who wins all the races, that doesn't always happen. The Gordon thing, the Newman thing, the Earnhardt thing. And, okay, so let's put more emphasis on wins, fine. But if you are going 36 points, really, the Chase Elliott, who just finishes 5th place every week, no matter what race we're at, short track, big track, road course, Navy base, Army base, we're flying jets, it doesn't matter. He's just going to finish 5th to 10th every single week and get some points. Well, he ends up being the champion because he just put together a consistent season. And honestly, that's pretty fucking boring. And in a sport where we need some excitement and we need the storylines, that just doesn't do much for you. And if you're a true racing purist, I get it, right? That's how short tracks still do it and the local tracks, and that's how it was done back in the day. But sometimes you got to change with the times. And I'm not gonna freak out or lose my shit if it's 36. And I don't think 36 is gonna be the case. I don't think NASCAR is ready to pull that trigger. I think that it gained some steam towards the end of the season, led by Mark Martin, who shockingly ran that his entire career and never won a championship. But I don't think we're going the way of 36, and I really hope we don't.
Yeah, TK also talking about the William Byron thing, taking gambles to try to win a few races, ran out of fuel a couple times, had to lock in again to secure regular season points. And you're right. It just the way that the format is changes the strategies for all of these teams. Like you said, when you lock yourself in, your mindset is completely different because now you have a postseason to look forward to rather than I'm trying to get to the postseason. And so you don't have to take nearly as many risks. Yeah, you're still out to win races. And this is the fallacy that I think a lot of the people that are championing this 36 as well, or even whatever, they say, well, there's still a race and you're still trying to win the race. But to the certain degrees that we've seen strategy play out in NASCAR, especially the last few years, where if you've won a race, and especially early, your whole demeanor changes because now you are just piling points. And yeah, you want to win the race. That's the easiest way to do it. But like, let's say you're like, oh, I don't have to take this risk, right now because I don't.
And I think that's what would have happened this year. William Byron locked up the regular season title. It was this year, wasn't it, that he locked it up before we even got to Daytona? So that is only 25 races into the season. He's already got more than a full race cushion. So, and that was after he tried some stuff and got aggressive for wins and, so that's where you got to be careful taking an emphasis off of wins. You're going to have people settling for second place, and they're not going to try, and you're not going to try as hard for the wins. And as JDK, who's very much a hater of the 36, points out, the best guy at being average is going to end up being the winner. And even the people who want 36 races, I don't think that that's what they want. So, yeah, it's 36 is to me the biggest case of be careful what you ask for, because it's gonna not go well more times than it does go well, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just gonna lead to people complaining because the person with the most wins isn't gonna always win the championship, and then they're gonna cry again, and then it's gonna be like, oh, Matt Kenseth shouldn't be champion, and well, who should be champion then? And tell me why and what you want out of this, because I'm just convinced that people have no clue.
Well, and just an example of that too is look at the Truck Series, look at the Xfinity Series. Like, how boring would those have been over the last 10, 15 races? I mean, Corey Heim would have been the Truck Series champion in April, honestly. Like, it would have been wrapped up that early, and then there's nothing going on the rest of the season. I mean, is that what we truly want? I get that then, the right guy wins it, right? But is that what you really want? Is for a championship race to be locked up literal months in advance in Corey Heim's case? Man, I don't know. And then also you throw in the guys missing because of injury thing this year, which we had with Zilich. That's going to kill you. If you miss a race because you get hurt at Talladega, and then you slip off although he started technically the next race after he slipped off the window net, but you're out, right? Denny Hamlin, sorry, you can't have a baby. Like, you don't have a chance at this title anymore.
Yeah, it's like I said, not perfect for 36 at all. So we'll talk about some more of the stuff and answer some of your questions as well. But let's first tell you about our friends over at Rhythm. The NFL is back, and Rhythm is crushing it right now in college football, NFL, and they just added the NBA. Rhythm is also giving away weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. You can track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build. You can win $1,000. Looking at some of this NFL action that's going on this weekend, how about the Cowboys and the Raiders? Rhythm is projecting 47 total points for this game. I think most of those are coming from the Cowboys. The over-under is at 49 on some books, 49.5. So Rhythm, if you use your deduction skills, is telling you to take the under on 49.5 because they're only predicting 47 points to be scored in that game. I think that's generous. I'm definitely taking the under with Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25.
John's a fan of the 36, right? He says the most consistent driver should be the champion. Even if that guy just runs 10th place every week and is boring as fuck.
Yes, I don't know. But okay, let's put this in terms of, like, I know you can't necessarily 1-for-1 it on football, but what would be the most
Well, Patriots will be the champions this year, so let's change it.
Yep. The best record, the best points, the best, like, I don't know. It just this is not any other sport. I get it. And that's happened. So, okay. In 2003, they switched to the chase format, right? The single round playoff format in which
the NASCAR Nextel Cup chase for the championship,
which I absolutely adored because Jimmy Johnson just continued to crush it. And they kept changing the rules to make Jimmy Johnson not be a winner anymore. And guess what? Jimmy Johnson still kicked everyone's ass. So, from 2004 to 2013, they ran that series of it.
Yeah. So this was simply 10 drivers, right? They took the 10 best drivers throughout the regular season. And I don't remember, do you have in front of you the exact format? Was it did they reset everybody's points? Did they award points based on where they finished or anything? I don't remember that exactly. But they reset 10 drivers, and it was just basically go have the best 10 races. And honestly, if you're a fan of the 36 race format, I think you're actually a fan of this format. You just don't know it because you want a big sample size of a champion, right? And yet we can do it at 10 without getting uber boring. Still, you might get some years where a guy kind of locks it up or has to finish. And really in 10, you're going to get the races where, okay, Kyle Larson has to finish 17th today at Homestead to be the champion. And that's going to be the story all day is, he's running 16th. Can he just stay ahead and finish 17th? And he's going to be the champion, which I think is okay. 10 races I like because it does give you that bigger sample size and it's okay, go earn this, right? Tony Stewart limps into the playoffs. I don't remember what year it was. And it was like, he said he should be giving up his spot to somebody else because he didn't deserve to be there. Then he goes and wins 5 of the last 10 races and he's crowned the champion and it's a great story. And, like Joey Logano's done many times, you come up clutch in the playoffs. I kind of really like the 10 race. Maybe it doesn't have to be 10 drivers. I don't know. We could figure that part out. But I kind of like the 10 race chase format because you're still getting that bigger sample size, which I think the people like John here in the chat, I think that's what he wants, right? Is some consistency over time. But we're not stretching it out over 36 races, which could create a lot of issues, I think.
So here was the chase. If you are new to NASCAR and you don't know what the chase is all about, and you don't know what the whole thing was, it was a 10 race chase for the Sprint Cup deciding. And so after 26 races, the top 10 drivers and points earn a berth in the 10 race chase. Spots 11 and 12.
You get your 26 point race, right? To race into the top 10. So you get that part at least.
Yeah, you do. And then it was the 11 and 12 spots. The wild card spots go to the drivers outside of the top 10 with the most wins. So now you get the guys that have the most wins that may not have been inside of the points, provided they were inside of the top 20. So if they weren't inside of the top 20, it doesn't matter. Which if you're that one, you're pretty much, you're going to be.
Yeah, and then you're not not getting your Austin Dillons in just by winning a race. You're getting in guys that more deserved to be there. A lot of people would say that got some wins, but just didn't get into that top 10 in points. I think that's fair.
And so all the drivers reset to 2,000 points for the playoff for the chase, right? In the top 10, 3 bonus points were added for the total for each victory during the first 26 races. So there's your incentive for the winners. And then the tiebreaker for drivers with the same win total is second place finishes followed by third place finishes and so on and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, that's how it was. So like if you had the first position, you had 43 points, second 42, 41, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, that it felt good to me. Like I don't know why that got changed.
Well, I think that was probably mostly the Brian France era, which was not a great era for NASCAR. That maybe that's why we changed that. And I think it got changed because Jimmy took advantage of it and they would disappear for months in the summertime, like we kind of see with William Byron at times now. And then they would show up in that 10 race and just kick everybody's ass, whether it was winning or just getting enough points over that course. I think the 10 race chase really is a good format because it gives you the 26 race regular season. You still have to perform in that. You're not just going to, win Daytona or win at Talladega and find your way in. You have to earn getting in there, which I do like that part of it. And then, then it gives you the 10 race. Like, okay, you've got this 10 race window. We're going to have short tracks. We're going to have intermediates. We're going to have super speedways. We're going to have road courses. You're going to have to go over 10 races and put together a championship playoff run. That also helps eliminate that one race. You blow a brake rotor, the last second caution in the championship race, that type of thing. Like it doesn't come down to one race. Your team has to put together 10 solid races. I kind of really like going back to that format. And I think it was a good format that probably got changed because one guy took advantage of it and won a ton, right? He was that good. And you could see that with the Kyle Larson type. in this format. So again, careful what you ask for. But I do like the 10 race chase format.
Well, and that was even a change from the initial one. When the initial one happened in 2004, they reset the points, the top points to 50-50. So they gave the first place car 5,050 points, and then they dropped it down by 5 points after that. So in that instance, in 2004, Jeff Gordon had 50-50. Jimmy had minus 5 after that. So, 50-45. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was down 10 points. Tony Stewart, 15. Kenseth down 20, Elliott Sadler 25,
yeah,
and so on and so forth.
And so maybe that's where you put a bigger emphasis on winning, right? Like we still have, so that you get more bonus points. And maybe it's similar to what we have now, where you still award the bonus points going into it and whatever your points are set at, instead of resetting every round. Now you just have, so the guy who wins a lot of races, who wins the regular season championship or top 5 in the regular season, he gets all these bonus points for having that solid season. So he gets a head start, right? He gets a start on first base or second base already, and then just has to put it together. I think that's maybe a way to reward a positive first 26 races. And then it also gives the guy that's coming in 10th, that's going to be a little bit behind, but hey, you get hot like a Tony Stewart did. You win 5 of the 10 races, but you're going to get those extra, and that's where in the playoffs, I guess you're not necessarily earning playoff points anymore since we're not resetting. So maybe you pay the winner 10 more points than second place gets. So you're putting an emphasis on winning, or maybe it's 15 or 20 points. So you're really putting an emphasis on, if you go get this win, you're going to get a lot more points than if you just settle for finishing second for a good points day, quote unquote.
Yeah. And so honestly, with the chase, and like I said, they continue, and like you said, they continue to evolve because of Jimmy, and they tried different things, giving different points for wins and everything like that. And Jimmy kept beating everybody and making everybody mad, which, don't hate the player, hate the game. But look, when they ended up deciding to change that altogether to what we have now, which is the 4 race format, this is, the natural evolution of it, right? With stage points and trying to make every lap mean something is what I think they were going after, and chasing after all of these points and chasing after all of these stage points and these wins and these, just not wanting to be last, obviously. But what else can you incentivize other than winning, other than finishing in the top 10? What can make it more attractive to run the entire race rather than knowing that you're locked into the playoffs and being able to change your strategy early in the season, right? I mean, what would make a team have to fight for 26 races and give them reason to go?
Yeah, I think reduced playoff size, right? I think having 16, while we've seen the seasons in 2022, I believe it was, where Martin Truex finished 4th in the regular season championship and didn't make the playoff. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of these guys, you're locked in. I mean, Christopher Bell had 3 wins in the first 4 races. He was literally as locked in as you can get, because it wouldn't be possible for 16 other drivers to win 3 races over the next 20, whatever, right? So they really were locked in and could do whatever they wanted to the rest of the entire year. So I do think that having the field reduced would probably help, where you're putting in the top 10 in points. Maybe you have the 2 wild cards, getting those 3 races early. That helps, because now you've got that to fall back on if you fall out of the top 10, right? That would probably be a way to incentivize it. I mean, paying the stage points, I think, is great, because it does reward you for running well during the race, right? And if you look at Denny at Phoenix, if we were racing in a 4 race or a 3 race or a 10 race final, getting those stage points, he earned way more points that day than anybody else did. Maybe that would have been enough to get him the championship, right? So I think that we're doing a good job of awarding stages. Getting rid of stage cautions is possibly the worst idea that we've had, because if you get rid of the built-in stage cautions and don't bunch the field back up, you think you have some boring races right now. You're going to have some it's going to make some races exciting, yes. And I think super speedways, like they did a couple of years ago with road courses, super speedways, you could probably take the caution out. You still pay the stage points, right, at the certain lap. They tried that with the the road courses, which didn't really work out, and SVG now would probably lap the field if we didn't have cautions. But I think you could do that in the stage races to help alleviate the fuel thing and all that, or in the super speedway races. But if you do that at Bristol, you're going to end up with 3 cars on the lead lap at the end of the day. And I know some of you guys like the days when Ned Jarrett would beat second place by 14 laps, but that's rough.
Well, and so John says be all about the points. And we talked about that being all about the points, because it's about the points and you have more
mediocrity
points.
Too much.
Well, not just that, but again, the being all about the points, then we'd have to figure out a way to make it to where it's not a runaway and it's not somebody locking up the championship way too early, because then
which is going to happen, especially if you find ways to incentivize winning, because then a Kyle Larson goes and gets 10 wins. It probably doesn't matter how many DNFs he has, right? He runs away with it. And then, good points day. We used to hear that so much. And yes, there's something to be said for it, but it just doesn't, I don't know. And then you're rewarding just consistently finishing top 10 and not winning. I just don't like it as much.
I would be okay if we ran the current system, but we had talked about this earlier, 2 wins and you're locked in, right? And then it goes by points and wins and all that. But 2 wins for sure. You're locked.
But so, I mean, really, we're not changing a ton, right? Because that guy who finishes 15th in points now, probably not going to win the championship anyways. So if we let Austin Dillon in instead of him, that's not changing anything in the 8 and the 4 most years, right? Maybe you get a wild card guy in there with Talladega or whatever. Probably not. Didn't happen this year, right? We had probably 4 of the most deserving could-be champions of this entire time we've been doing this one race deal, and people weren't happy with that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. John really does love the stage, does not love the stage caution. Remember racing in the 90s.
John,
but it's not the same. It's not the same. Yeah, this is
I grew up watching racing in the 90s and I loved it. And there's so much of me that sees that and watches those old races. And it's like, I just want this again, but we can't bring it back, John. The 90s racing is dead. It's not. I know that Tom Brady cloned himself into Drake May. I don't think we can clone the 90s cars into today. And it's just, we're not going to get that. Racing then was great and it was amazing and that was the peak of the sport and we loved it. But trying to recreate that now, I don't think we can. And you don't have the equipment failures like you had then, unless you race for Joe Gibbs.
Pit crews are a hell of a lot faster now. It's a lug nut. It's not. Yeah, you can't compare it.
It's hard to. Yeah, and you're gonna get. I don't know. It's just. It was great, John. I wish we could make it the 90s again because it was so much fun. And I was a kid at the time, but I loved the 90s, early 2000s. That's what I grew up watching. I just don't think we can bring that back. Even if we implement all the rules we had then, I don't think it's going to be the same.
See, and that's the thing. And first and foremost, I want to go back to the 90s, John, for different reasons, because I want people to not be able to get a hold of me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I want to go back to the days when if you wanted to get a hold of me.
Podcasts in the 90s, Rod. Don't send us all the way back there. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But no, here's the thing, right? You can't, if we brought all of that back, if we brought no cautions, if we brought points, if we reverted and turned the clock back to the 90s, to the 70s, to the 60s, and the way they ran back then, it's not going to look the same. It's not going to be the same. And it's not going to turn out the same. And that's why we got to stop romanticizing some of the stuff that was working before, because they had cars. A lot of them had cars that they were just building that day, right? And a lot of them were, and as the progression of the sport got better, the reason that the rules kept changing is because the technology kept getting ahead of the rules that were in place. And so you had to find a way to circumvent that and to actually stay ahead of that, which is why they started to do all of this stuff. And why not? Because like I said, it's not going to look the same, John. We all want it to look the same. We all want that same warm fuzzy, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, it just today everything's so different now. There's so much technology and Dale Jr. has talked about this on their podcast. Like, what if you could just snap a finger and forget everything we've learned over the last 40 years, right? That would be great because then we could go back to that. But now the teams have so many tools at their disposal and so many things, and it's not going to look the same. And yeah, the fields are closer now than they've been, and especially then, which I think is great. But I don't know. I don't think we can pull it back. As much as we want to, John. She's gone. You got to let her go.
Yep, that ship has already sailed. And okay, so here's the thing. Go ahead and bring it back. Go ahead and bring it back. Let's watch it play out. And I guarantee you that it will not feel the same. And there's going to be a lot more people that are going to hate it. And JDK, I mean, no stage is caught. Larson wins Bristol by 20 laps. SVG probably goes full F1 and wins by minutes on the road course. And
minutes? He might win by laps. Like, honestly. It's just, I don't know. I don't think we can bring. And then, we're going to race back to the caution flag, like big safety issues there. Like, there's so many things we just can't do that they did back then.
Yeah. And so I guess as we start to come to a close on this discussion, because like we said, we were going to solve all the problems. Cody, what is our solution to NASCAR?
Just real quick, I know we've been on this for a while, but what I think might be the leading candidate for this is going to end up being a 3-3-4 format where we still, how they determine the playoffs, I don't know. We're going to have 16 cars, but instead of having 4 rounds, we're now going to have 3 rounds, and you're going to cut drivers after the first 3. You're going to cut drivers after the second 3, and then the championship round would be the final 4 races. So likely, I think it would be like it is now, where once you get into the championship round, everybody's reset to 0, which if it's only going to be 4 races, if you're doing 10, I think some bonus points are great. If you're only doing 4, I think you have to reset everybody back. So you reset, so you set everybody there. It's 4 races. Is it 4 drivers? Is it 6 drivers? Where do you set the line, right? And then they go out and you have to put together 4 races. And I think make it 4 different types of racetracks, make them show us all the disciplines or a lot of the disciplines, right? Right now, the way the 26 schedule is set, that would give you Phoenix, Talladega, Martinsville, and Homestead, which is a pretty good mixture, right? I think having a Talladega in there is fine because 6 of the 36 races are super speedways now. So having that in there is great. And maybe you work a road course in there on a rotating basis at times because, hey, 6 of the 36 races are road courses. If you want to be the best, you want to be the champion, go show you can do it on all types of racing, right? So I think that's probably the format from what I've seen, I think that's the leader. Listen to guys like Jordan Bianchi, Jeff Gluck talk. 3-3-4 seems to be the format that's leading. I think I'd rather have the 10, but I think 3-3-4, I think is a compromise between the 10 and what we have now. And at least that makes it not one race, right? Where one caution at the end is the one true thing that costs you. You do have to put together a 4-race sample. That's a pretty good sample size. And I think we could be, I guess, more happy with who's crowned the champion at that point.
And honestly, the reason that you do 4 races, and it's almost the same reason why you have a 7-game series in the World Series or a 7-game series in the NBA, right? Is because in a football game, one team plays another team, and yeah, there's a lot of variables, but no other teams are involved, right? And so with NASCAR, everybody's involved, and to have one race and to have one caution come out at the wrong time by somebody who's not even involved in the playoffs at all, that should not cost you a championship. I 1000% agree with that. And a 4-race format at the end at least gives you the opportunity to to figure that out. And I know 4 races in October and November is kind of hard, but
how's that
we
hard?
did it.
We do
last
it
week.
we do it every year.
The Roval is in there, right? Talladega, Phoenix.
I mean,
is a mile.
We race, and there's plenty of tracks you can go to in October. Rod, it's November 14th in Nebraska, which is where I'm at. It's 3 hours north of Kansas City. It was 74 degrees here today. So we'd have been fine having a race at Kansas City today. But I agree with you on the no overtimes thing, John. I think that you stop it at 10 or you don't count caution laps at all. I think there's ways to get around that. But yeah, 4 races. We already raced 4 times in October, November. Las Vegas, you don't have to worry about weather. Phoenix, you don't have to worry about weather. Homestead, Miami, you really don't have to worry about weather. So there's plenty of options there. Dega is not too bad that time of year. Martinsville, they seem to race second to last race every year, and it's fine for the most part. A little chilly, but I don't think that that's an issue. We already do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess in the end, I would probably adopt the 4 race final. I want to keep everything essentially the way it is, but I think the 4 race final makes it a little more, and 4 cars. We don't need to overload it. 4 cars works, and just let the final 4 duke it out over the last 4 races and see where the chips falls. And I mean, that does seem like a very nice little in between what everybody's kind of clamoring for. So
I would like to go back to when Richard Petty won the 1964 NASCAR Cup Series championship, and they ran 62 races. I think that's the format I would like, Rod. Best driver over 62 races. Let's do it.
That's horrible. I that's a lot of racing, and I would absolutely love it. But boy, you need a chance to breathe every once in a while. That's 62 races.
I've lost you, John. Talladega can get cold, yes. They already raced there at that time of year.
And it's not raining.
That wouldn't change. It's not just because you go to 4th round championship round, they're already racing Talladega that weekend, whether it's 4, whether it's 36, whether it's. So I don't really know what you're trying to argue there. That, I don't know. But, yeah, and stop counting the caution laps for stage cautions. But then at the same point, if you stop counting caution laps, especially in truck races, those would be 8 hours long. TV doesn't like that. That's why I think either last stage, last 10 laps, 50 laps, something like that is probably the ideal way to not count the caution laps and race out those final laps, I guess. And I did see, I don't remember who it was, but shout out to them. Somebody on Twitter had the idea of if have a set bar, like if we're headed to overtime and the leader has more than a 2-second lead, they're declared the winner because nobody would have caught them, whatever. I mean, you'd have to figure that out, I guess, but it's a thought. I don't know that it's a great thought, but it's a thought.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much going on, and honestly, like I said, we won't know until they start to figure it out. And
But to truly answer the question, my favorite would be, I think the one that I would pick now that I've had more time to reflect, more time to think. I really like the 10 race chase. I think you get your bonus points going into it, so you've built up your advantage to the first 26, 10 races. Go out there and be the best over 10 race sample size. I think that's the best route. I believe if I'm predicting it, we'll see a 3-3-4, but 10 races for me is the way I would go.
Yep, let's bring back the chase. Let's bring back Jimmy Johnson so we can win some more championships. I am 1,000% on board for that.
All right, one final thing for John. He wants to see if anybody drove all 64 races. No, and that's the point, because now we have to hope your driver starts enough races to be the champion. Like, that's where people are like, oh, we've been doing this for so long. Like, yeah, but look at what a fucking clown show that is. Like, oh, the guy who shows up for more races because he has more money gets to be the champion. Congrats, Richard Petty. You're the king. Not everything in the past is great, people. It's just, it is.
Indeed. All right. Well, let's put this to bed. We got plenty of more off season to debate this, and I'm sure that we're going to find out more as the weeks progress, and then that discussion can even turn more into what we don't like about the new format. And
I can't wait to break down the new format, whatever it is.
I can't wait to hate it. I'm just going to be an opposition. This is it. 2026, the year of opposition for Rod. I will stand in the way of any progression and just shake my fists like a good old man should do.
Yeah. Shout out to John. Shout out to JDK. Thanks for engaging us in the comments section. We do really love it. Nothing personal for sure. Just having a good time, trying to have a little debate discussion. Let us know if you're listening to this after Spotify comments, YouTube, whatever. What's your ideal format? What way do you like it? I think I will put up a poll. So this is going to go out Saturday on Spotify. I will put up a poll over on Spotify, Rod, and we'll list the options, right? 36 races, 10, 3-3-4, what we have now. go vote on that Saturday and let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, and don't be lazy and just say I don't like that. Come up with an idea of your own. Like if you're gonna come after it, then just come up with an idea of your own.
Yeah, we might not have covered something, and you might have a great idea of a 15 race playoff or whatever it is, right? Let us know. Let us know what you think.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when people are like
King of the Hill, Rod. Stupid. The final race of the season is 2 drivers. Put them out there and see who can do better over 500 laps.
That's all I want. I want a Lightning McQueen versus Chick Hicks versus the King. Final 3 race over there in LA. That's what I want. All right. You know what I want now? To let you guys go. Have a good weekend and enjoy the rest of the week. We'll see you back next week, normal time, for the Formula One race in Las Vegas, where what is that? Kyle Larson is jumping into the Yuki Tsunoda Red Bull. No, I'm just kidding. He's not. Don't at me on that one. But wouldn't that be fun if we saw that?
That would be fun. Unfortunately, no Kyle Larson racing there. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting. The Las Vegas race is really, really cool. It's a sweet-looking circuit there in Las Vegas, racing down the strip, around the sphere, all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. We had some success last week. If you weren't sure, you didn't really pay attention, we hit some good bets, had solid day. We're going to try and do that again next week for Vegas. So looking forward to it. Thanks again to everybody for hanging with us this offseason. We will see you guys next week. In the meantime, Rod, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can jump in my DMs and complain about stuff there if you'd like. I'm always willing to engage. Join us in the Discord, sg.pn/Discord, and we'll see you guys next week.
Follow me on Twitter at RJVillagomez. Stay out of my DMs. And no, I'm just kidding. You can find all this stuff that I am all about and having fun with you guys, probably lamenting about the Niners and their just recent demise and hurts. But yeah, all right. We'll see you guys next week for the Las Vegas Grand Prix in Formula One. But until then, see you next week. Let's go racing and let it ride.